Hey folks, I was doing some quick editing and I think I need to make a quick comment about the beer review you're about to see. It is for Stone and NOFX's collaboration, Punk and Drublic. Now, I don't know if you have or haven't read, but the band NOFX, I believe it was the lead singer, but don't quote me on that, had some pretty insensitive comments to make during a show in Vegas about the victims of the recent shooting in Vegas, something along the lines of, and again, this is not an exact quote, at least it was country music fans, and etc., etc. So as a result of that, this beer is no longer available. Stone immediately dropped their partnership with NoFX. There's still some of the beer out in the wild, so to speak. It has been brewed. You know, they can't take that back, but they're not going to be brewing any more of it in the future. But don't hesitate to pick it up if you see it. They ended their partnership with the band. The band's not making any profit off of this. As a matter of fact, Stone has decided that all profit will go to, I gotta read the press release here, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Foundation, which provides post-Route 91 trauma counseling for officers and other first responders alongside other safety programs, training, and funding. That's 100% of the profits from this beer go to that group. So don't hesitate to pick it up if you see it, because it is a damn good beer despite everything else that's going on with it. And where Stone's saying they're not going to make it anymore, let's hope that the recipe makes a return under maybe a different name or something. So with that out of the way, I'm going to pass you on to the beer review. Well, I've been drunk in public, but I've never been punk in Drublic, folks. I am the Mighty Plantain, and we are looking at a beer called Punk in Drublic. Now, I saw a Facebook post from Stone Brewing about this, and I got to admit, the name alone caught my attention. Punk in Drublic. Come on. It's like the whole "take me drunk, I'm home" thing, or "buddy, I'm hammered, I'm fucking drunk." Wait, that wasn't slurred speech with misplaced syllables. Anyway, you know what I'm getting at. Punk and Drublic. The name alone is fucking awesome. Now, this is a collaboration between Stone Brewing and NoFX. NoFX is apparently a punk rock band, Punk and Drublic. I'm not familiar off the top of my head with any of their tunes, but when you just need something to wash the noise down, oh, but noise is good when you're drunk, man. It's the one thing about Maine. We don't have any good dance clubs where you can just go listen to like techno or trance or something that's really thumping and bumping and just gets your juices flowing. It's all just loud hip-hop crap around here. Well, at least here in central Maine. We don't have any of the big city bar types, big city musics. Anyway, Punk and Drublic Festival. They got a festival going. This beer was brewed as a collaboration between Stone Brewing and Fat Mike. Fat Mike, I'm assuming, is associated with NoFX. Between Stone Brewing and Fat Mike, who showed up and mostly just got in the way. I'm sure that's just a joke on him. But, who knows? The guys at Stone don't pull any punches, so. Alright, we've talked about this enough. Let's open the beer. Get right down to it. Punk and Drublic. Come on. How can you pass up a beer with a name like that? There's no way. You have to at least check it out. Plus, it's from Stone, and it's a hoppy lager. Stone does hoppy beers right. We all know that. I'll forgive them for the pink and green label. I'm not a big fan of the pink beer can, but that's nice and hoppy. Nice and hoppy. Now, like I said, I'm not a fan of the pink label, but it's a Stone beer in collaboration with a punk rock band called Punk and Drublic. That's enough to forgive the pink can. I'd still drink this in public. It's got enough balls to make up for the pink colored can. Man, I am really chatty right now. I may have had a few beers beforehand, but it's a nice golden yellow beer, slightly effervescent, very clear. I'm going to wipe the sweat off the glass. It's getting to be into the warmer months here, so you might have some sweat on the glass, but quite clear, not very cloudy. Like I said, slightly effervescent. Some bubbles coming up from there. It's got a nice hoppy aroma. We got citrus up front. Maybe a bit of floral on the tail end there, which is impressive to me because I'm keyed mostly towards citrus and pine, so I'm going to pick up on those two hoppy notes more than anything else. So the fact that I'm even getting some floral in the end there is impressive to me. Oh, for a lager, that's got a nice hoppy punch to it. And honestly, more of a heavy mouthfeel than I would have expected. It's got a bit of a medium light mouthfeel. I mean, still fairly light overall, but it seems like there's a lot of hoppiness there, and the hops are giving it some body that I wasn't expecting. Again, that's just based on hoppy lager. I mean, typically your lagers tend to be a little thin and watery, but I'm not picking up on much of a malt backbone here, but there's enough hoppiness that gives it body. And that's unusual for me, because usually you get a beer that's this hoppy and there's not a lot of malt character behind it. Pardon, it just falls flat. It seems to be like this hop tea. There's hops up front with a nice nice bitter punch to the palate, and then it falls flat afterwards because there's no body to the beer to hold up to that that hoppiness. So there's no malt backbone to support it. But in this case, I'm getting like a mouthful of hops that's giving it enough body to carry it through the fact that there's a lager behind it. And hopefully that makes sense to anybody who's listening to it, but that's really what I'm getting. I'm getting this nice big hoppy punch up front, and it's like a mouthful of salad that's got some real body to it, some meat to it. And so it doesn't matter what the follow-up is. I don't know if I'm making any sense in what I just said in the last couple of minutes there, but really, there's this nice, solid, heavy, hoppy punch to it. And it just kind of slowly fades, very slowly fades. And you're left with this, this nice clean feeling afterwards. That's unusual, though. Usually when I've got a beer that's this hoppy up front, there's nothing to back it up unless it's got a solid malt character to give it some backbone. In this case, what I'm getting is I'm getting a mouthful of hops, like this, this juicy, chewy mouthful of hops, and it's just staying with me enough that it doesn't matter, because the malt character doesn't even come into play here. And that's unusual for me, to get this much of a, I don't know, like I said, it's not an overwhelming hoppiness. I'm getting pine, citrus, floral, and earthy notes just kind of all rotating around. And a hint of sweetness in the finish, but again, it's just, there's so much hoppiness there that the fact that the beer is a lager base doesn't come into play. And just that, it's like the hoppiness stays with me and gives it body continuously. And I'm not used to that. I'm used to a beer that relies on hoppiness for the body doesn't carry through. And the hoppiness just stays with you. It stays with you. Even in the most hoppy beers I've had. And I've had the Dogfish Head 60 minute, 90 minute, and 120 minute IPAs, as well as their Hulad, the hoppiest beer out there. I've had Stone's Ruination and Ruin 10, and those beers have all had a nice solid backbone of malt character to them to prop up the hoppiness that's the main focus. This particular beer is relying on a lager backbone, and yet there's this mouthful of chewy. I'm sorry, that's probably not the best word, but it's the only one that comes to mind. This mouthful of chewy hoppiness that just follows through the whole beer. Pretty sure I'm rambling at this point, but this is a unique experience for me. And it's delicious. I think at this point that fact that it's a unique experience and I keep talking about it, it's got to hit a full 5 out of 5. Yeah. There's nothing else I can do with it. Pumpkin Drublic. Everything about this beer is getting me excited. I mean, the name, the appearance, the taste, the fact that it's very unique for me in that the hoppiness just gives it so much body that it carries through the whole beer drinking experience versus having to rely on a malt backbone to prop up that hoppiness and give it some body. It's unique and delicious. I can't poke any I can't poke any holes in this experience. It's awesome. I mean, maybe not a pink can, but you know, like I said, the beer that itself more than makes up for that. At this point, I think I'm just repeating myself and rambling, so Pumpkin Drublic. Full 5 out of 5 for me. Make sure to check it out. Afterwards, hit me up down in the comments at the email link down below. I'd like to hear what you have to say about the beer, whether you agree with me or disagree. Either way, I want to know what you have to say, because not everybody is going to have the same taste experience as I do, because all of our palates are different. But I'll be more than happy to discuss it with you down there. While you're hitting me up on the comments and email link, don't forget to like and share the video, and make sure to subscribe so you get a notification every time I post a new one. Till next time, folks. Don't be afraid. Well, might be a little inebriated after this beer, but don't be afraid to get Pumpkin Drublic, and cheers.